Hello, and welcome to Learn Code the Hard Way. This is an introductory video that applies to all of my Learn Code the Hard Way courses, whether you're learning Python or Ruby or C or anything else. Some of the material in this particular video might be a little too simplistic if you're an experienced programmer, but it should apply to anyone who is just now learning how to code, maybe doesn't know their computer quite too well, and probably just needs a little bit of advice on how to get the most out of all of my courses. The best thing I can tell you to do right now is put on your headphones. I make sure that the volume and the sound is as good as I can get it, but sometimes I can't turn it up too loud, so put on some headphones. The speakers in your laptop actually kind of suck. In this course, I'm going to be covering how to learn about your computer, a very simple little thing you should do, some effective learning strategies, how to use this video, the other videos, and the book, some basic online research skills, how to get help, especially from other programmers, and just a little bit of final advice for you. The very first thing, it's important for you to understand how to use your computer. In fact, that's the reason why I teach these courses, so more people can learn about their computer. As obvious as that sounds, you also need to learn how to use the command line. I have a book for that, actually. If you go to Learn Code the Hard Way, there's actually a book . And it's called the Command Line Crash Course. You go to CLI, Learn Code the Hard Way. You can also get to it from links on the side. In the book, which depending on when you watch this video may be in different states of repair, it should be complete and it's been reviewed and used by many users, but there might be some grammar errors here and there. But the book basically covers all the simple things you should learn, the set of commands you should know, whether you're using OS X, Linux, or Windows, and then gives you some basic commands that you can follow in order to complete most of my courses. These commands are just the 20 or so commands that I use all the time, and this course is not really teaching you how this stuff works, but more just getting you barely into it so you kind of understand it and making you trial by fire learn how to do it. It's the equivalent of me throwing you into the pool to teach you how to swim. If you're feeling adventurous, try using some Linux. Ubuntu is really good. You can go grab VirtualBox. In fact, I will go and show you VirtualBox right now. VirtualBox is a free little virtual machine piece of software. Not super duper fast, but works pretty reasonably well. You can download it for Windows, OS X, or Linux. The link is actually off to the right here. Simply go there, download it, go get an ISO image for Ubuntu, if you don't know what that is. ISO Ubuntu. ISO is the old name for what a CD used to be. There you go. Download the latest Ubuntu and spend some time trying to figure out how to set it up. It's good to learn some Linux because these days, almost everything that you try to deploy or that you try to set up is going to go on a Linux server. If you want to do EC2, it's way cheaper to run a Linux server. Linux servers are very easy to control remotely. They're very easy to automate. They're very easy to manage. And in the end, if you're doing server programming, nobody really knows if it's Linux or if it's Windows. The next thing is you want to get familiar with where things are outside your start menu. So you may be using Windows or something similar, and you probably are used to just finding everything through Start. A better opportunity or a better thing for you to do is to simply run Windows and run the PowerShell and try to learn where things are without it. In fact, I will sit right here and I will try and do it for you. This is actually VirtualBox. And I have some code here from some of my other exercises I work on. This is what I'm talking about. And yes, this advice is specifically targeted at Windows users. You probably like doing this, finding everything through the search and going through all of your documents and everything by going to the Start menu. Instead, try browsing where your files are here and finding them, and then from your terminal, PowerShell, try to see if you can figure out where that stuff is. Oops. So I'm in this one, I'm in that one. Let me see. Zed. There's the desktop. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I want to come here. I see that LS EX15 sample is there. Oh, sorry. More. I still have a... There we go. Now, if I switch over to the file browser that I have open, I can say Downloads. And then I should be able to go to Desktop, and I should see, there it is. And I should open it, and it should have the same thing. Operations like that are really important. Notice what I did is I figured out that the file was here in Desktop, and that in PowerShell, that is here. This is a really important thing to learn how to do on any computer. You need to know how to find stuff. A lot of programming is putting files in certain places and knowing where those files are. So if you don't know how to do that, you don't know how to navigate with the CLI here, with PowerShell, or with Terminal, then you're going to have problems. All right, let's continue on. In almost all of my classes and all my books, I say use a plain old text editor, gedit, Text Wrangler, Notepad++. Right here, we've got, in the little virtual box I've got, I've got Notepad++ open. It's a great text editor. Nope, that's plain old Notepad, Notepad++. Do not use this Notepad. This Notepad sucks. It's really awful. Don't edit code with it. Don't edit text files with it. It does weird things. Use Notepad++ or a similar editor. There's a few others you could try. The main thing that I'm telling you to do when I say use gedit, Text Wrangler, or Notepad++, and experienced programmers, Emacs, Vim, TextMate, Sublime, BBEdit, any of those, plain text editors that you can use to write code for anything. I tell you to do this because IDEs, integrated development environments, are evil. They will make you stupid. If you're trying to learn to code, don't use a tool that makes you stupid. All right, effective learning strategies here. An important thing is to do consistent work very gradually over a period of time. Don't try to do it all at the end of the week. Instead, a few hours is better than once a week. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't compare yourself to me. I've been doing this for decades. Worry about your own progress. How are you doing? Keep track of your progress. This can help. Keep a graph of how well you do versus how bad you do. Be honest with yourself. This will teach you to be objective about your actual progress and able to give yourself good criticism that helps you improve. A really good way to learn to code is to break things and then fix them. Careful though, make sure you do backups of your computer before you try to do anything really destructive. But if you break a piece of code, then try to fix it. That's a really great way to learn to code. Keep a learning notebook. In the learning notebook, put questions or things you discover or stuff that you find. Maybe later on you'll get the answer. Sometimes I'll go to bed, I'll wake up the next day, I'll realize the answer. I'll go look at my notebook, I'll have it. I have a notebook for all sorts of random ideas I put things in. I have a notebook for things that I learn when I study music. Notebooks are great. Periodically review your learning notebook. Go back through it every once in a while. Just browse through it while you're watching TV or something. Jot down things you already know. Cross things out that you've already learned. Okay, the best advice for getting through the book is that you have to learn to read code. If you're one of those people who believes that you are a visual learner instead of an analytic learner, or you are a tactile learner, the learning modalities types, then my courses will actually help you because you can actually gradually build skills in learning things analytically. This is important because programming is an analytic skill. There's visual components, but if you can't read and write and comprehend it, then you're going to have problems actually programming. The best way you build a skill is, one, stop telling yourself that you can't learn by reading, because you actually can. And then second, just build your skill slowly. Don't assume that because right away you can't figure things out or you get distracted or whatever, that you won't eventually learn how to do it by just gradually working on these little problems. So if you think you can only learn from videos, then you're going to learn by doing a pattern I have. I like the videos plus the book combo. So here's what you do. You watch the videos to get an idea of what's going on, and then take notes as you go. Then go to the exercises in the book using your notes from the video and what you remember about the video, because I do all the work in the video. Go and actually do the work from the book, but read it carefully. Take notes in the book. Use a highlighter, or if you didn't buy a version of it, just take notes on paper. Code it up. Be as exacting as you can. Study the text, and then get the exercise to work. Since the exercises are small, this will build your skill and your knowledge of how to actually do analytic thinking. The way to think of this is the video is a lecture showing you how to do stuff. You get to basically pair program with me and get advice from me, and then you go off and do your homework and really learn the material. The goal of this is to eventually wean you off of needing videos. If you're going to code, you're not going to find a video for everything you need to do and every problem you run into. So you have to learn to be able to do this without videos. Here's a quick tip that I use, a quick little trick that I use to stay on task while trying to learn things. Go get a bunch of 3x5 index cards. Let me look up a picture of a 3x5 index card so you know what I'm talking about. 3x5 index card. There we go. There's a whole bunch of them. There we go. Very simple little business tool. You can get them at any office store. Depending on your country, they might not be called 3x5 because that's an English metric. English measurement. It might be in millimeters. They might call them something different. Cards. Go get one of those, a bunch of those. Each day you sit down, write the things that you have to do that day at your computer. Start doing the quickest ones first, crossing off as many as you can do. If you find more stuff to do, add them to cards. Your goal is to add stuff to cards and cross it off. Add stuff to cards, cross it off. At the end of the day, review your cards and cross off the things you'll never do. People love to pack rat things they're going to do, and they know they're not going to do them. If they're ideas that you have, put the ideas in a notebook. This is just for things you need to get done. Then the next day, copy the previous day's important tasks, dropping more if you can, and then start over. So you copy them over, start doing the whole process again. I use this fairly religiously. If I don't use it, then I actually get off task and I seem to not get as much done. All right, online research skills. I used to do this for a living. Let me show you how I made most of my money as a computer consultant. All right, so people would give me an error message, and then I would copy a part of the error message, and then I would paste it into Google or Bing or whatever the hell I would be using at the time. And then the error would come up, and somebody would have a solution for it because somebody has probably already ran into it. Yes, I was actually paid to Google things for people. Don't do that. Don't hand the text to someone else and go, what is this? Google for it. If you go and do that, you'll start to learn that pretty much any error message you get is out there. I will give you an example. I'm going to start Python, and I'm going to type an error message. All right. So let's say I go and I grab that, and then I'm going to go to Google. I'm going to go specifically to Google just so you can see a different search engine. Syntax error, invalid syntax. Now, if I come in and I click the very first result, I am new to Python. I don't understand what I'm doing. I get the error syntax, invalid syntax. And then it says, for example, something like this, syntax error, it just says syntax error on its own, and you get an explanation. And there's pages of explanations. You can then research. Go on to the next one. DevShed sucks. Don't go to DevShed. Let's try this one. Here's some more. See? All I did was paste the error into Google, and I got tons of responses. Okay. Close that off. Next up. Getting help from me or another programmer or something. Someone who's going to help you with your code. So, the best thing you can use is code. Don't explain in English what your problem is. Because English sucks. If English was really good at describing computer things, we would be using English to do our programming, but we don't. We use programming languages. The reason why is because English is too complex, and it's too fuzzy, and it's not exact enough. So we invented programming languages. They're very exact. You will save mountains of time, and save mountains of another programmer's time, if you just show them your code. Don't be ashamed. Nobody's going to yell at you. Any programmer who yells at you for bad code, just ignore them. They're jerks. But take your code, put it into codepad.org, dpaste, any paste site. They call them paste sites. And then hand a link and go, I get this error on line 25. I don't know what the error is. In fact, paste your errors too. That's another thing people need to do. So when you give that link and you ask for help, people can help you much more easily than you describing the problem without the code. If someone shows me code, I can usually glance at it for 2 seconds and then know what the answer is. If I can't, I can download it and try and fix it and show them the response. If they try to describe the code to me or describe it to me in English, then I can't. And usually I won't even bother helping. So, show the code. Don't be ashamed of your code, especially if you're just learning. The most important thing, though, is try to figure it out yourself. So many people just run into the first problem, and then they don't even try to think about how to solve it. Learning to code is learning to actually solve problems. So try to do it yourself. Come up with a few guesses, hypotheses, write them down, try to prove them right or wrong. It's okay to make mistakes. That's kind of the point of trying to do this stuff. But if you don't try, you're not really going to get good at solving things. Okay, coming to the end of this video, my final advice is you need to take breaks. So let's say you're having a problem focusing because you're reading too much and you're not used to reading so much. Take a break. Let's say you're not used to programming, your brain feels fried. Take a break. If your hands hurt from typing, take a break. Stretch them out. Work them. Rotate them. Run them under hot water. If your hands are cold, they'll actually hurt. Believe it or not, people don't know this. If your back hurts, try to get a better chair. Try to get a chair without a back. Try to sit on one of those balls. Stand. People like to stand and code too. But most importantly, take a break. In general, my last final thing to tell you that will help you enjoy programming is it's a sedentary lifestyle. So taking and sitting down for 8 hours straight is bad for you. Causes all sorts of health problems. Instead, get up and take a break. Hack, do a little bit of coding for 45 minutes. Then sit down somewhere else, or I get up and play guitar, or go for a walk, or go get some food real quick, or grab a coffee, whatever you need to do. Just take 5 to 10 minutes, come back. You'll be way healthier if you do that. Okay. If you have any problems, you can email me at help@learncodethehardway.org, and I'll help you out. Also, on the site, there's comments sometimes. You can use different comment systems to help me. I usually respond to most of them. And feel free to ask me any questions that you need to, and I'll help you out. Thank you very much.